So today on our interview, we have a special guest with us who's revolutionizing the financial education world. Mr. Prateek Singh started trading in markets when he was just 17 years old. Under the guidance of his father, he has now become a seasoned investor. During the course of time, he also founded 4 startups, namely TradeScient, Trade Academy, and Market Scientist, which were around educating the investors about markets and investing. LearnApp is the latest venture launched by Prateek Singh in 2018. So a very warm welcome and thanks for taking time off.
Thanks so much. I think you've done your research.
So let's start off. So talking about your background, I've read that you did not, attend college. Is it true? And if so, what were you doing in the 4-5 years when other, 17-year-olds were actually in college?
Sure, right. So I'm actually not proud that I didn't do that because I think everyone needs a college education. I think the chances of you doing well in life without a college education dramatically decrease. So I think everyone needs that. And it's kind of odd that I didn't complete college and I run an educational startup. I'm probably the last person to do this. But actually, answering your question, what happened was I studied abroad all my life. And when we came to India, I'd already skipped a year or so back in Malaysia. So I was born in Abu Dhabi, studied in Africa, Singapore, Malaysia. And then when we came back to India, they again asked me to lose a year. Actually 2 years, and I wasn't willing to do that.
Okay.
So actually, forget about college. I couldn't go beyond class, primary level class. Let me put it that way. Okay. So I couldn't finish school. Actually, I don't have a 10th certificate or a 12th certificate. So college was far off.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So Dad actually opened an account with ICICI Direct.
Okay.
And we started to trade. My first trade was with a company called Milk Food. And I realized that I earned 50 paisa on that trade. Okay. Only later on to realize the stamp duty and STT and God knows what else. And I never stopped. So I just continued learning to trade throughout. There were these forums called Trader Geek.
Okay.
So that's just where I learned trading from, and I still trade today.
Yeah. So I wish, all dads were as supportive and, open to trading.
Totally right. The real hero is my dad, man. I can do anything in my life.
So talking about the retail participation of Indians in the capital market, so as of now, it's like less than 2%. So yes. Providing financial education to Indians, to increase their participation is much in focus now. So like examples like Varsity, like your LearnApp, Finception, and among others. So what impact do you think such platforms are actually having currently?
So it's actually very simple, right? It is inevitable for everyone in India to learn to start investing in the market. If you look at foreign other entities, not entities, but other countries like Europe or Australia even, a very high digit of over 40% people actually invest because they sort of understand the market a little bit. And our generation, actually your generation, my generation, is the first generation where we actually have opportunity.
Yeah.
Think about it. Our parents, when they were in the market, they just wanted a job. Today, we have the option to leave our current jobs and go somewhere else. We have far more opportunity than our parents, which means we also have higher disposable income, which means we want to invest. Our parents didn't have this luxury. Whatever they went through, we have a much better life because of them. And this is throughout a generation. You can track this on dispensable income. This is quantitatively proven.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable for this 2% number to go to 15-20%. And education is where you start, right? So it either starts in school, college, and hopefully LearnApp, right?
Yeah. So, while you're talking about education, sir, can you explain to a first-time audience hearing about LearnApp what actually LearnApp is about?
So LearnApp is very simple. Why don't you learn from practitioners rather than from a trainer or professor? We have people who actually manage billions of dollars and they actually teach. Yeah. But there's something odd. We have people who manage mutual funds, who manage hedge funds, and they all teach on LearnApp. Yeah. The thing is, if you actually learn from these people, you notice what they do is very simple. And they just repeat it again and again at a larger scale. It's not necessarily complicated. So what LearnApp is really doing is 3 things. We get a leader to come and teach as an actual practitioner. Yeah. So you don't have to learn everything. You just learn stuff that's important. Yeah. 2, it's filmed like a movie, so it's super interesting. Yeah. And 3rd, it costs only 500 rupees to access 100 courses. So it's essentially $5 a course. So it's very, very affordable. So that's what LearnApp is.
Yeah. So when we're talking about the senior executives, so for example, you have Mr. R. Gopal Krishnan, the Executive Director of Tata Sons, or Mrs. Radhika Gupta, CEO of Edelweiss. So how do you manage to get them on board? And is this like a differentiating factor from other edtech firms?
I think it is. So most edtech firms in India focus on either school or the technology industry.
Okay.
I think we're the only one who's focusing on finance and money and business.
Yeah.
And why not learn from, GoIBo's founder, Ashish Kashyap, on how he got his first million of users? I'd be interested to see that. So we're like an insight platform,
okay.
not really an education platform per se. You get insights from these people and you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And how we get these people on board is, I think once you reach a point in your life that you really want to make a change, you've already done it.
Yeah.
And the only thing remaining is education. Just go through all these Alibaba guys and everyone.
Yeah.
They all want to do something for education. I don't know if you've noticed it in their interviews. So I think we provide that giving back to society wala platform. And that's why I think they do it. Because we can't incentivize them with money. They do it out of love.
Definitely. So in one of the videos, Mrs. Radhika Gupta herself, tells this point significantly. And so going forward, so your colleague, Mr. Sohail Alam, previously actually worked at Upstocks. So how did the team actually come along for LearnApp?
That's a good question. So it's not only Sohail Alam, who's one of the co-founders, but also Ankush Oberoi, who's another co-founder, and Swati Sharma, who's also a co-founder.
Yeah.
So we were all actually friends.
Okay.
Swati, Ankush, and I know each other for more than 10 years.
Wow.
And Sohail, and if you add Sohail, I think all of us know each other for at least 6 years.
Okay.
So we're just really good friends, man. We just know each other for chuddy buddies. We know each other extremely well. The good, the bad, mostly the bad. And that's how we know each other. So I met Sohail while he was at Upstocks.
Yeah.
And when I was running Trade Academy, that is actually the education arm of Upstocks.
Okay.
And that's how I knew Sohail, and he's just like a brother, like all the other co-founders.
Okay. So while we are at this, so can you emphasize the importance of having a solid and diversified team, while one is starting up?
Okay. So by what perspective do you want me to say this at?
So as you mentioned, you have known your co-founders for 10 years. So is that bonding essential, or being diversified team and then coming along? What according to you is essential for a team?
So the one thing for a team is that they need to trust each other.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to do beyond the first 6-7 months of the startup. What happens is that a startup is basically a giant experiment, right? Yeah. No one knows whether it's going to work. Except the founders. The founders get up in the morning and like, बहुत अच्छा होगा, मैं तो IPO करूँगा, घंटी बजाऊँगा PSC का, and I'm sure you also feel the same, right?
Yeah.
We're all the same. No one really knows whether it's going to do well. And what that essentially means is, that means that you have to find out whether your problem is being solved by your solution, which means multiple experiments. Yeah. For example, at Trade Academy and the previous ventures, we did workshops, we did online, we made the courses free, and then we made it paid, then we did live, then we did recorded, then we did leaders. Yeah. So we've been doing education for such a long time, but I've tried everything in the book. I've done pay for each class 50 rupees. I've done all the combinations. Okay. Right? It's just small experiments. Yeah. And who's going to trust a leader who keeps making experiments, right? Yeah. I think you have to really trust him. And so that's why maybe I think a team that you know really well really helps, because then you learn from each other. There's no ego. Because as friends, we make fun of each other, right? Yeah. That always helps. There's no ego. You get to learn each other. A diversified team is better because you play off each other's strengths. True. Swati is the most qualified person, probably after Sohail in the company. Okay. She's an MBA. I'm nothing. So when it comes to creating SOPs, driving work, she's the one. Okay. Right? Technology, there's no one better than Sohail. He builds stuff at Upstocks. Yeah. He's built entire LearnApp single-handedly. So I don't know if you know this, we basically have two people in the tech team. Supriya, who's the front end, and Sohail on the back end. And not only has he created this, he's created partner dashboards. Companies use it to upskill their users. That's Titan. He's built that as well. So enormously talented.
Yeah, definitely.
And Ankush runs the entire video thing. So it's just
Yeah. So, and the model LearnApp actually follows is that of, Netflix subscription one. So I myself have opted for the 3-month, plan for rupees 1,770.
Oh,
And so can you throw some light on the business model and how your revenues have actually been in this model?
Sure. So based on all the experiments we've done, what you really need to do is the 20x formula.
Okay.
So 10x or 20x. So basically, whatever's there in the markets, can you 10x it?
Okay.
So we said the cost of each course is 3 lakhs.
Okay.
What is 10 times cheaper than that? So that would be maybe 3,000 a course. We said, okay, let's make it even more affordable, and we finally came up with a 500 rupee number.
Mm-hmm.
And since it's a subscription, we can't sell something and run away. It's such a small number that anyone can afford it, and if it's bad, people will tweet the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Right? And very lucky, if you just go to Twitter or anything and type LearnApp reviews, you'll get such nice reviews from thousands of people, which means you're on the right track. And also makes our content really good, because people, can be really fruitful. So subscription model really helped us to make really good content, because people just entered, paid, told us what's good, what's not, and we just improved. So that way, subscription was really good. Otherwise, I feel if people pay 1 lakh or 2 lakhs for one course, just out of guilt, they tell their friends, ki acha tha, because no one wants to feel like they got ripped off. So that way, the subscription model really helps. And people keep coming back every single week. So they repay after 3 months. So it's working fine for us so far.
Yeah. Okay. So I have followed Zerodha for a long time, and so seeing actually Nitin Kamath take on that course was actually insightful. And your recent tool series, Trend Investing, also has been superb. So thanks for that.
You liked it? Yeah,
yes, definitely.
We got a lot of nice reviews for that one. Thanks for watching. Yeah. So nice of you.
So Zerodha. So Mr. Nitin Kamath of Zerodha has been a backer of LearnApp. So their investment incubator arm Rainmatter has early investments in LearnApp. So can you share how this actually helped, and what's your relations been with Mr. Nitin Kamath?
So I've known Nitin for a while, actually. I met him some 4 or 5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And when I reached out to him saying you want to build an education platform, he just was very nice to say that they'd happily back us. So, and of course, I think he's a phenomenal entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So if anything, I get to learn a lot about, how he built his company without any backers, without anyone's help. And I'm sure people would have doubted him when he started. I'm sure everyone doubted him. But somehow he just made it through. Another thing about Nitin is he's very calm. So I feel like even if a storm happens, he'll be very calm.
Okay.
And I think I'm trying to learn from that as well. That, when we don't get subscriptions, I shouldn't blow my head. I should probably relax.
So, and I actually read somewhere that LearnApp clocked around 1.18 crores in revenue, in its first 8 months. So did you actually spend anything on marketing, or, was it through Zerodha's reach that you achieved this, or anything else?
Right, that's a good question. So Zerodha actually doesn't push LearnApp yet.
Okay.
Officially. So what's going to happen now is you're going to create some basic courses, and then people are going to take those courses. So I think that's when the Zerodha push will really help.
Okay.
I think they've sent a few push notifications, which really, really helps us.
Definitely.
But generally, I feel we've grown organically. So we don't do any ads. We do something called a retarget. So if someone comes to the site, we show them some trailers for a few days. But don't really count that, because that's almost free.
Okay.
We reach people by, say, Radhika, for example, she would tweet about us, and Nilesh Shah would tweet about us, and that's how people find out about LearnApp. We don't spend anything on acquisition. People tell their friends, and almost 100% of our reach is either direct or organic.
Okay. So talking about it, how do you think it's important to have a profile, a brand profile? Say LearnApp, I associate with Mr. Prateek Singh, Zerodha, Mr. Nitin Kamath. So that way, how do you think it's important to have a profile for your brand on, say, LinkedIn or other social media platforms?
You mean how a person is associated with one company, or the company?
With one company, and how he has strong backing for it, and he has a lot of influence on it.
Sure. So I'm a very, very firm believer of this. I think that it's very important for a company to be associated with one person.
Definitely.
My friend was recently telling me that this is a bad thing, because a lot of good companies aren't associated with people. But I beg to differ. I think the ones which have grown really fast, I can think of Elon Musk, I can think of Nitin, I can think of even to some extent Zoho actually.
Yeah.
Sridhar Vembu is associated with that. Kunal Shah, Craig.
Exactly.
Sachin Bansal, Kunal Bai from this thing, Dipender Goyal for Zomato. I think that really helps.
Yeah.
That's not the most important thing. Definitely, your business is more important. But I think it really, really helps if you can associate one person.
Yeah.
It humanizes it, I think. Otherwise, the business is what? A call center or a number, I don't know, logo. And for humanize connectively, you need a person.
Yeah, exactly.
The person helps, I think.
Yeah. So then, how far do you think the Indian markets are with respect to the foreign markets in terms of innovation of technology into trading?
So, if you actually look at how broking works abroad, they're almost like banks.
Yeah.
So, if you have some money lying in your account, it actually earns you interest, wherein in India it's not. This is one example, right? You can just do so much, but that's more to do with India's regulation rather than our tech. I feel maybe a lot of tech is powered by Indian companies, totally by US. But I think slowly we're opening up our regulation, and this is just the start. I think when you guys grow up and I grow up a little more, we look at this time as a storm. I can't believe I was part of this. India will probably be one of the hottest fintech markets in the world.
True, sir.
And I think that'll be really interesting because China, I know about that place, right? the government is way bad. So India that way is much better. So we're really well poised for this. It's not even the start, not even started to scratch the surface.
Yeah. So, and while we had that follow-up question, so algo trading is now like a prerequisite for surviving in tomorrow's financial market. So you yourself are a mentor of an algo trading course on LearnApp. So what's your take on algo trading, sir?
Correct. So I only do algo trading. I don't place orders on my own. Even if my algo fails, I will not place the order on my own.
Okay.
So interesting for you, especially for Algokart.
Yeah.
What you guys are trying to do, right, is trying to dehumanize how you execute a plan.
Exactly.
So if you actually look at any business, right, Shiv,
yes, sir.
Any well-run business is run because there are a set of rules, which you call SOPs, standard operating procedures.
Okay.
And they know how much money comes in and what goes out, right?
Yeah.
Exactly like an algo.
Okay.
So what an algo does is you have a set of rules, you know how much money will go in and what's the probability of what will come out. If businesses are run with standard rules, why shouldn't you trade?
Yeah.
Right? When people try to predict the market and decide where the market is going based on what they feel, I feel 99% of the time they will fail.
Yeah.
And even if they win, it is probably luck. It's not a long-term sustainable model. You have to have a rule-based way to trade. You can do it without an algo, but human error is just so high, you won't be able to execute it.
Yeah.
So even for the simplest of orders, I would think even long-term investors should probably use an algo. And I know a few people who will take some really large managers who manage thousands of crores.
Okay.
They actually use algos in India to take a long-term trade on the market because they want it to be as rule-based as possible. So you don't really need only short-term stuff for algos. So yeah, I feel algo is the only way you should trade.
Yeah, that was insightful, sir. And then, sir, you've been a trader investor in your sales capacity before. So a question would be like, how do you think the indexes are valued as at the current levels? Are Nifty?
So that's an answer that I shouldn't do because I wouldn't trust myself.
Okay. I
would probably trust the algo, and whether the market goes up or down, the algo will actually keep what it has.
Yeah.
I honestly feel it's extremely overvalued, and like the fall has just begun. But having said that, I mean, it has no cause in how I trade or in that will be, that'll be separate decision. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah, that's it, sir. We're actually done with the questions, and sir, actually, thank you for your time, sir. And
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Maybe we should get on a call so I can understand Algokart better.
Definitely. For now, thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.